Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about how we make things harder than they have to be. I know that this was a big problem for me and something that I still, to this day, sometimes struggle with. So if you're like me and you tend to make things harder than they are, then stick around because you're going to really love today's episode. It's going to help you a lot. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Inner Awesomeness. I am your host, Melissa Oatman from melissaoatman.com. So before I get started with today's topic, I want to talk about this new podcast that I came across, and I think that you guys are going to love it as much as I did. It's called Based on the Evidence, and I don't know about you guys, but I am really into like true crime shows. I watch shows like Snapped and shows like Forensic Files on TV all the time. I just cannot get enough of those kinds of shows because I'm truly interested in the details, the people, the characters, all of that. So this podcast called Based on the Evidence is a podcast that presents true stories of people who've already stood trial for committing violent crimes. And then they try to figure out whether the defendant was found guilty or not guilty based on the evidence from the actual trial. And then they do reveal the outcome. So they try to figure out, did the jury get it right or not, based on what they think of the evidence. So if you're really into true crime shows like I am, and you enjoy witty banter back and forth, then this is the podcast for you. Again, it's called Based on the Evidence, and it's really an entertaining and really thought-provoking show. So go and check that out. It's on iTunes, Based on the Evidence. You will enjoy it. I am sure of it. All right, guys, let's dive in today. So we're talking about how sometimes we tend to make things harder than they are. The topic for today came to me after a series of things happened to me over the past week that I had to actually stop and realize that I was making my life way more difficult than it really needed to be. And it was simply with my mindset and with my attitude. And I don't think it was a coincidence at all. I was in the car and I had my phone on with all of my music on it. I turn it on, and the song that comes up was actually an old song that was from the maybe early 90s by Amy Grant called That's What Love Is For. And those of you who are my age, you probably remember this song because they played it a lot during that time. But I had it on my phone and it came on. And it was one of those times where, normally if I'm listening to music, I don't pay attention to the lyrics and I'm just singing and going along with it, and I'm not listening to music mindfully. And honestly, I really don't ever listen to music mindfully that much. But my niece was talking to me last night and she said, "You got to listen to this song, you're going to love it. And listen to the lyrics because the lyrics are good." And I thought it was funny that she said that because she's 13. What does she know about really listening to the meaning of lyrics? But she's actually a very wise old soul. So I listened to a song she told me to listen to, and I paid attention to the lyrics. So that got me in the mindful frame. I was trying to give you a reference as to why I suddenly started listening to the lyrics of the song. But all of a sudden, this particular song just kind of spoke to me. And the lyrics were, sometimes we make things harder than they are, or harder than it is. And I started paying attention to that, and it really spoke to me as to what I have been doing in my life lately. For example, it's been a struggle this week with my mom. She just isn't doing that well. And she's supposed to be at the end of this journey, right? She's already had her radiation and she's been out 2 weeks from it. And she seems to be worse than she was even during chemo. And it's frustrating. She's down to 105 pounds. And my family is just worried, sick about her. And she's just refusing to eat and all of these things. And it's just very stressful. And my brother gets really frustrated at her. And we went to lunch the other day and he got super upset with her because she didn't even try the food. She just smelled it and said, I'm not going to be able to eat this. I'm not going to be able to swallow it or chew it. And so it seemed like it's something that is mental with her and it's in her head. Not that she's not experiencing issues. Of course she is. But to automatically, when you see food, say, I'm not going to be able to eat it without even trying it. So I knew it was more of a mental thing. You could tell she's been in her house and not really wanting to get out. And it's just been frustrating. And so instead of making her get out and really try to cheer her up and do all of those things. We've been doing the opposite, which is like yelling at her. I mean, not really yelling at her, but you know what I mean? Like my brother is like fussing at her, like you need to eat, and getting frustrated with her. And it didn't work. It's not working. It wasn't working at all. So yesterday we decided to get her out. She said, oh, if I feel good. I said, just put in the frame that you're going to feel good. It's going to make you feel good to get out. So she got up and said, yeah, I feel good today. We took her to the zoo and she ate like half a corn dog, which sounds like it might not be a lot, but for her it is. And then she ate some pineapple, and like the more we would go throughout the day, she would be snacking on more things because she was laughing and having a good time, and her mindset was everything. She was making her recovery process more difficult because her mindset was not where it should have been. We do that a lot in life. We end up getting in this negative mindset, and it happens. I was in a bad mood like all week. I really have been, even though like I've tried to do things to get out of the bad mood. And I really think that a lot of it is just from my environment, what's been around me, because I've been around a lot of people who are stressed out. And, you know, my family being stressed out about my mom. But then I have a friend who's also stressed out about not just my mom, but then her parents and everything else. And everyone's mood around me has been really negative. And it's worn off on me. I felt myself going to that negative place. But I don't know what my issue was this week. Instead of, normally I can just say, okay, I got to clear my energy, clear my space, do this, do that. I didn't want to do any of it. Like this morning, I told myself, you need to get up and work out. And then I sat there in bed, giving myself a whole list of reasons why I don't need to, and why I just don't want to, and I don't feel like it. You know, for me, I mean, it's like that time of the month. I don't mean to be too graphic, but we all have that if you're a woman out there. And that has an effect on you too, because you feel more tired and sluggish, and the emotions are just all over the place. And as you get older in life, that gets worse because the hormones are just out of whack. So everything just seemed to be multiplied. And I just didn't feel like doing anything. And I just heard this voice. It was probably one of my guides that said, get up, just do it. It was like Nike, like, just do it. So begrudgingly, I'm like, okay, fine. You know, I put on the workout clothes. That's half the battle right there, is just making up your mindset that you're going to just do it. So I did. I put on my workout clothes. And even then, I'm still trying to talk myself out of it, right? I'm like, well, you could just do this later, you know. And then I think to myself, you've already got your workout clothes on. Go grab a bottle of water and just get this done. So at the beginning of it, I was like, I'm not really into this. Trying to dance and get into the working out. And then I thought, you know what? I wasn't into like being up and doing fat burning stuff and heart healthy exercises like cardio. I wasn't into doing it. So I stopped. I was like, I don't want to do this. I'd rather do like weightlifting today, do some toning stuff. And honestly, I just listened to my body, because I think my body was like, you know what? We don't need the fat burning stuff today. We need the toning. And so I started doing that. I switched to that, and it felt really good, honestly. Like once I was into it and I was lifting weights and stuff, felt a lot better. And I felt much better after it was done. But it just has felt like every little thing has been a challenge. And then I had to get in the car to go pick up my mom today, and there was a nail in my tire. I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But I thought, okay, no. That also was when that song came on, was when I was on the way to deal with it. I put more air in my tire, but I could see, oh, there's a screw in my tire. I'm going to have to get this patched. And I went down that whole, I hope I don't have to get a whole new tire, and I hope I don't have to wait, and it's going to take so long. And that song came on, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm making it harder than it is. So I just stopped right there, and I said, okay, this is going to be easy, and this is going to be quick, and it's going to be cheap. And I just kept thinking that over and over to myself. Easy, cheap, and quick. Easy, cheap, and quick. It is, and it's going to work out. And I'm going to stop making it harder than it is. I'm going to stop with the negativity, because it's not doing anything positive. It's just making me angry. And I think that we do manifest those things in when we have those negative thoughts. So I thought, okay, easy, cheap, quick. I called the place. They said, yeah, bring it right in. We patched the tires. It's $10. I was like, all right, well, let's see if this follows through. So I drive it in, and I see the parking lot's full of cars. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to probably take forever. And there's like, nope. Okay. Easy, quick, cheap, right? Easy, quick, cheap. So I go in there. The guy comes out to meet me and said, yeah, I called. Oh, yeah, I spoke to you on the phone. Okay, where's your car? He looks at it. Oh, yeah, I can do it right now. You don't even have to move it. I can see the screw. I can get it out. I don't have to take off the tire. So he comes out. It took probably like 5 minutes. And then he said, can you pull up? I'm going to air up your tire now. It was so quick, easy, and it was only $10. It's like, okay, this is how life can be if we allow it to be. But just like my mom and her example with her illness of being in that negative headspace, and I understand it. It's easy to get there. It's easy because that is the more natural place to go, is the negative. Brains are wired to focus on the negative. So when something bad happens, we tend to want to blow it out of proportion and make it 50,000 times worse than it is. And then we get in that mood and we go down that rabbit hole and we can't get out of it. And not only that, but we're then attracting all of these other negative experiences into our lives. And if you follow the law of attraction and you follow Esther Hicks or Abraham, the teachings of Abraham, they talk about what you focus on grows. And if we want to have better experiences, it starts with our thoughts, and we have to have better thoughts. And it's true. And I've seen that this week more than anything. I really, truly have. I'm seeing old triggers come up for me. And the good news is I'm making progress. Like, I know if this kind of stuff came up for me a long time ago, it would have taken me way more than a week to realize that, hey, I need to get out of this. And I know I'll tell you sometimes before that, oh, in just a few minutes you can get out of it. You can, but you have to recognize what's happening. And it took me a week, honestly, because I feel like I've been all out of sorts lately, and I don't really know why, but it took me a week to recognize that I was just going back to my old ways again and going back to that negative mindset. And I really, truly believe for me, part of the reason is because I have been around my family lately, and we've all been in this headspace. And the more you're around people like that, the more you kind of go back and revert your thinking, because you tend to want to think like everybody else, which we have to stop doing. And so I had to consciously decide, okay, I'm not going to be negative like everyone else. And everyone has problems, everyone has issues, and it's understandable. Things can be very stressful at times, but it's how we deal with it. I'm never going to sit here and tell you bad things are never going to happen to you, because that's a lie. Bad things do happen to us, and they happen because they're teaching us lessons. They're things we have to deal with, but the way that we react to the things can absolutely alter what happens next. I truly believe that. I feel like if I would have gone in there with this negative attitude of like, oh, this is such a pain in the butt, and this is going to be so expensive, and it's going to be this, and it's going to be that, probably would have been. Probably wouldn't have gone as smoothly. I have learned in my life to recognize that my attitude and my mindset absolutely affect the outcome of everything. We could have kept griping at my mom, and instead of saying, hey, let's make a fun day out of it, we could have started off, well, let me explain to you what happened when we got to the zoo. And this is actually what I wanted to explain and forgot where I was going, because I got onto a different tangent. But when I got to the zoo, it wasn't, oh, everything worked out perfectly and it was a beautiful day. It did not start off that way at all. Okay, we got to the zoo and there was traffic. As soon as we got off the exit to get to the zoo, the line was all the way out to the highway. And if you know anything about the St. Louis Zoo, we were not close to the entrance. So we had to sit. We were probably waiting in line for the entrance to park for 30 minutes. Okay, so that was the first thing. And it was hot. It's 91 degrees yesterday. That was the first thing. The second thing is, because of COVID, you have to make a reservation for the zoo. I was the one in charge of making the reservation. Guess who made the reservation for the wrong day? Yeah. And guess what day was now completely booked? Yeah. So we didn't have reservations. And honestly, I think what happened was I put in the day and it wasn't available, so it kicked me to a different day and I didn't realize it. I'm going to go with that theory. But my family is the type that, like my brother, when he found out that I put in the wrong day, it was immediately like, luckily I wasn't around him, but my niece said she could hear him on the phone like, oh, what are we going to do now? Like, I can't believe she put in the wrong day, making me feel bad, which I knew he was probably doing. But he was not in the car with us because we let them out to go and park. Like, we were going to park. They were going to get a wheelchair for my mom. But as soon as they said, that says the reservation's for the 11th, and I looked at my confirmation and was like, oh my gosh. Well, that's when I started going, okay, let's make this easy. Somehow we can work this out, right? I started doing that. Like, it's going to be okay. It's going to work out. I said, let's talk to somebody and see if maybe we can get a reservation of somebody, let's just see what happens. And the worker there overheard my family talking on the phone about it and said, hey, this family had a reservation for 8 and only 3 people showed up. And then they were like, oh, that's great, but we still need 2 more. And then the people behind them said, we didn't have all of our party show up. So the lady at the gate was like, oh, there you go. We have enough people, so you guys can come in. So that worked out. Then the parking lot was full. It was like, oh my gosh, where are we going to park? But my mom had her handicap sticker, and I'm thinking, even with handicap, it's probably all full, but let this be easy. We drove around. I said to my sister, there's a spot. And it was right by the entrance. So she pulled right in. We got out, we walked in, and everything, we were all saying, oh my gosh, wow, how did that just happen? This worked out perfectly. This couldn't have worked out more perfectly. Even if we had actually had the right day for the reservation, this worked out even better because they let us right in and they were very friendly and then willing to help us with everything. It just flowed easily. And we could have, as soon as I found out that it was the wrong day, I could have just gotten upset and said, well, let's just go, because that's what they were wanting to say. Let's just pull out of line. We'll just go, even though we waited there for half an hour. Let's just go. We'll just go back home. Everyone would have had a miserable day, right? We would have all been in a bad mood. But instead, we said, let's just see what happens. Just ask. You don't know unless you just ask. You got to put yourself out there sometimes and just ask and say, hey, I made a mistake. Can we get a different day? Can we get in today? And then things started rolling smoothly. And it was a beautiful day. I mean, it was warm, yes, but it was worth it because my mom was laughing and smiling and my niece and nephew were cracking jokes and making her laugh. And she said, this is so much better than sitting at home and staring at the walls. And then she said, I know it's a lot of work for you, but this is really easy and fun and nice for me. And we said, it's not work. Like, pushing you around is no big deal. I mean, there are a lot of hills in our zoo. That part was a little bit of work, but worth it for the change we saw in her attitude and in her appetite. She ate all day long and was drinking and, drinking water, which she doesn't do when she's sitting at home. It makes all the difference in the world. The way that you look at things, your perspective from where you're sitting makes all the difference in the world. And one of the things that I read just recently was if you can shift your focus and instead of focusing on all of the things going wrong in life or all the things you don't have or all the things you want to see, instead, if we can focus on what it is that we have right now that makes us happy, I don't want to use grateful for anymore, that we're appreciative of. What do I see around me right now that I'm so appreciative of? And there's a lot. There's a lot that we can really show our appreciation for. And that's what sets everything in motion, is instead of focusing on everything that went wrong, if you can somehow think of that line, sometimes we make things harder than it is. We can take a perfect night and fill it up with sights best unseen. We can make such a mess. We can make a nightmare out of things that really are no big deal. When instead we could turn around and look at things and say, okay, I don't know how it's going to work out. And that's a big key. There's a lot of trust that's involved here and faith. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't even see how it possibly could, but I'm just going to trust that it is and that it will. That it is better, because to me, that it is saying that there are things happening right now that are in motion that maybe I don't see, that things are working out. It just is. And when we can shift that, we start this momentum of positive things happening, positive thoughts, positive things, and things start coming in for you. I know that I've blocked a lot of things in my life because of my attitude and my mindset. It's sort of like when you see a child throwing a tantrum, do you want to reward that? No, you don't. Yet we do it every day. We do the adult version of the child tantrum. Something doesn't go our way, and we immediately begin shouting every expletive we can think of or getting so upset. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you do have to honor your feelings that, yeah, this made me mad. But if you can catch yourself in that and say, okay, I got out my emotions, now I'm switching gears. Now I am going to focus on the positive, because we all do that. It's a human thing to go to that negative place. We can get faster at stopping it and reversing it, because it's momentum we're creating behind that. And the more momentum we put behind those negative things, the longer you're going to experience the backlash from that. But if you can stop it and we can reverse it and focus on the positive, the more positive things you're going to see coming in. And sometimes it's hard. I'm not talking about having toxic positivity here. I am just telling you, you can choose to be negative all you want, and you can choose to say, well, I don't have to be positive all the time. That's just a load of crap. It doesn't work. Just try it. You don't have anything to lose by trying to shift your mindset when something goes wrong. You have nothing to lose, because if it doesn't work for you, go back to complaining and being mad and angry. See how that works for you. I know from experience and with proof in my life that I make things harder than they need to be when I get into that frame of mind. When I start complaining and griping, first of all, I look like a raving lunatic, because if I'm screaming and cussing and getting upset, I mean, you've seen all of the videos online of people losing it on the airplane or in the store over silly things, honestly, when it comes down to it. Really. Somebody asking you to do something for safety reasons? That's ridiculous. It's not a big deal, and people are making things a big deal. And we just need to really learn to not lose it. And, when you lose it over silly things, you're draining your own energy and you're setting into motion all of those negative things. Stop doing that to yourself. You don't deserve to be upset and miserable and fill in the blank with whatever emotion when something happens that you don't like. Instead, try to shift your perspective. Try to look at, okay, so maybe I'm not where I want to be. I'm on my way there. And while I'm on my way there, I have all of these amazing things happening for me. And you can think of things to have appreciation for. Everybody can. First thing is, you have breath in your lungs, and some people don't, or have a hard time breathing. Your body is functioning, some people's are not. You have family, some people don't. You have a house, or you have shelter, some people don't. You have food to eat, some people don't. There are a lot of things that you have that others only dream about having. So learn how to appreciate where you are right now on your journey, knowing that if it's not where you want to be, you're getting there. You'll get there. Remember, you don't have to know exactly how it's going to work out. Have faith and trust that it is. It doesn't have to be in plain sight. That's where the trust comes in. That's where faith comes in. Having just a little faith in the universe that what is meant for you is on its way already. And the universe has provided so much. If you want to have proof that you're being guided, look at where you were 6 months ago. You've come a long way. You've got to show yourself some kindness and compassion. And learning how to make things easier for yourself, that is going to be one of the best ways to show yourself kindness and compassion. Don't get angry at yourself if you do something wrong. Like immediately I wanted to go to the place when I made the wrong reservations of, oh my gosh, how could I do that? And I thought, no, I'm not doing that to myself because I don't even know that I did make the mistake. It was an online program and technology is great. Does it fail sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to sit there and beat myself up with the story of, oh, look what I did. Stop doing that to yourself. And even if you did, you're a human being, you made a mistake. Move on. Oh, well, I'm going to fix it now. Let's move on. We got to stop beating ourselves up over things, especially things that are out of our control anyway. So when the situation arises, it's out of your control, or when you realize you're in this headspace, because for me, again, it took like a week of having these just things happening before I realized I'm pretty much calling all of this in because I've been in a very negative space and a bad mood. And the moment that I turned that around, the moment I realized it, things started getting easier and better. And that can happen for you too. Again, if you don't believe me, just try it. You'll see, I promise. All right. So I wanted to pick a card for you today. And I pulled a card from my deck that is new to me. It's Goddess Power Oracle deck by Colette Baron Reed. It's not a new deck, but it's new to me. And I am going to read you. I'm not exactly sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it is the goddess Lei Zhu, and she is the Chinese goddess of lightning and was believed to bring storms. But the message here is revelation. There are moments when synchronicity brings all of the elements together for a flash of insight to rise up in you in a glorious epiphany. Whatever was not clear becomes crystalline in its instant. It's as if you were able to simultaneously perceive every facet in a diamond. You know without a doubt that you are on the right track as deep understanding sinks into your very soul. In this moment, change and transformation take place, and a transcendent moment is offered to you as an extraordinary gift. All right. I love that. That is awesome. So you're on the right track. Something is being revealed to you right now, and it is going to bring clarity to you, and probably clarity that you are on the right track. So I love that. Keep going every day. Keep going. That is the one thing that I have to keep telling myself sometimes. Life is not always sunshine and rainbows, and during those dark periods is when we really need to keep going and tell ourselves that it gets better. It does get better. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. As always, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. Please leave a positive review from wherever you're listening. Your positive reviews actually get my podcast out there in front of people, and that helps me to spread my message of healing. So thank you to all of you who have done that, and I really, really, truly appreciate it. Please share this podcast with anyone you think might be able to benefit from it. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I go live Mondays at 6:30 Central on Facebook, where I do a free card reading. If you show up for the live, I'll pull a card especially for you. And if you want to work with me, you can go to my website, melissaoten.com. If you're wanting just to work on your mindset, I can coach you and help you learn how to do that, how to get rid of the negative behaviors, negative thoughts, and how to come into a more positive mindset. And you can book a discovery call with me to see if coaching is right for you, or maybe just a reading, whatever. I love talking to you, so get on my website and book your free discovery call. We'll jump on a Zoom call and I can talk to you to see how I might best be able to serve you. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. As always, I hope you have a beautiful day from wherever you're listening. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.